It's an early autumn day in Toronto, and Norm Cash arrives to take his role in a Remembrance Day television commercial, selling poppies for the Canadian Legion, something he had done many times in the past when he was much younger.
15 years ago, Norm Cash was selling poppies outside a supermarket. The manager told Norm that he could not sell poppies there, and he would have to move his car before he got a parking ticket. It was at this time that Norm began to realize there was a new generation that had already forgotten or had chosen to ignore the significance of those little red paper flowers.
Like the majority of World War II veterans, Norman was not a career soldier. He was a young man who volunteered. And so, at the age of 22, he went in a matter of months from working for a tailor in Toronto to a gunner in Britain, preparing for the biggest amphibious assault the world has ever seen, Normandy.
That first night you could see the tracers, those bullets, going back and forth all over the place. I didn't think I'd ever come back.
In 1940, halfway across the country, Morris Polanski was just graduating from high school when he signed up for the Canadian Army. 2 years later, while his regiment was en route to Italy, his ship was torpedoed in the Mediterranean.
Now, the ship didn't go down right away. Were we frightened? Yes, we were.
Eventually, he made it to his destination and was witness to the aftermath of one of the hardest fought battles in Italy, Monte Cassino. Erwin Weiner grew up in a very poor household in what was then the Jewish neighborhood of Toronto. Erwin's parents were recent immigrants from Russia and had no real connection to Britain's war. But that was not going to stop Erwin, together with a large proportion of young Jewish men, from enlisting in the Canadian Armed Forces. Erwin was eventually to find himself in the midst of one of the most ferocious battles after the D-Day landings, the Falaise Pocket.
The mortars were a terrible thing. We called them moaning Mini. They were destructive by day, but at night they were both destructive and morale busting.
With references from the once secret regimental diaries, we will hear of daily events that today seem life-changing, but back then they were recorded with chilling matter-of-factness. Canada in the 1930s and 1940s was rife with anti-Semitism, both subtle and overtly violent. So it may come as a surprise to many that so many Jewish men and boys should willingly take up arms for a country in which they were considered second-class or even third-class citizens.
The intention of this documentary is to produce a lasting visual record of the contribution made by these young Jewish men and women, despite the animosity and discrimination which was so prevalent in their society. We want the audience to see and hear from as many surviving vets as possible. We want to discover those intensely personal moments that have remained with them all their lives. With your help, the recollections of Norm Cash, Morris Polanski, Erwin Weiner, and many more will be seen and heard as a reminder that those events of 70 years ago will be remembered by the next generation and many generations to come. Thank you.